Hello, I'm Steve, and welcome to our channel Patio Heat, where we provide visual concepts of infrared heating as well as tips for ideal patio comfort. Check out our patioheat.com website for sales and more information. Kindly consider tapping that like button if you find this video useful, as it helps others find our channel. Now let's get heating. Alright, here's a residential application, and you can see we have two different sections over here. We have the dining section and just a reclining section. Now I moved this door all the way out just because of the fact that even though there's a chair there, this door does swing outwards, and it does have the ability to interfere with the location of the heaters. You can see we have a couple of lamps up here. Now I have them at 24 inches on center, and they could be a little bit different, so I also I'll just keep that in mind. I also centered them within this space from this edge here to this edge here, and then placed them 2 feet from center each. So that's the dimension that I put there. Also, there are some recessed lighting up in this area up here. You'll notice that we have this beam come down, and that it's a little bit higher or lower than the ceiling, and that was the information that was given to me. So let's go ahead and put some of these dimensions on here. And so dimension wise, I have a ceiling height, let's just go right into that, of 9'8", and then the beam that comes down here, and I just have that around the perimeter of the outside open edges, of 8'6", bottom edge. And then we have a couple of dimensions here, so total dimension here is 18'7", the edge wall here, and I think there's some windows in here, and there's also some windows on the edges of the doorway, but that's not important on this. We have a 9-foot section here, 9'4", and then a 19'1", with a depth here of 12. And I think that's about it. We'll come back to this measurement here in a minute. Alright, so there's two different options. I know that the this particular application, they do have some gas lines up in this space over here somewhere. And also there's some electric they had mentioned. Now the electric appeared as probably as a 110 system, and any electric heater that you're going to use to heat up an outdoor patio is going to have to be in a higher rating, like 240 or higher. So just bear that in mind. Usually 110s will only heat like maybe a 3x3 area at max, at best I should say. Alright. So here's a couple of gas heaters, and I have these at 17 inches away from the edge of the light fixtures. So if your light fixture is a little bit larger than this, it's going to have to be a little bit further apart. And I'm not sure if I have the dimensions on this here to see. Let's go ahead and throw some dimensions on for the distance apart, because I think these are a little bit further than I would typically like. Yeah, so we have 8'9". Typically, I like to see them around, 9 to 8 feet, so it's still within that range, and that'll be okay. But the height of the heater itself, that's what I have over here, the 8-foot section height. While 8 foot is a pretty ideal heater height for this particular model. This model is an S34. It could be also an a TSH, so 2-stage hardwired model, and that would give you output of 25,000 or 34,000. The S34 is a 34,000 BTU heater, and so in any case, I do have those two just about the maximum distance apart that I'd ever choose. It is centered within this room from left to right over here, and then this one here I believe I have at centered from the doorway here, from here to the edge of the beam over here, so this inside edge, and that's my center point. Now whether the lights are in this position here or over here, I'm not sure, but that will bear some information, or as far as being able to place this heater here. So alright, let me go ahead and turn that dimension off for a minute here and see if there's anything else. So the clearance on the edge of the heater is 24 inches out. from the ends, and then 17 inches down, and that's from a wall, they say. So I'm not quite sure if that's going to meet this particular edge here. You may have to move this heater slightly to the right in order to accomplish that, but we'll leave it at that for right now. And let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. So footprint of heat, you'll see that we're getting a pretty darn good coverage here. Throughout this whole table area, we do have some nice crossover in the middle, and even though you don't see the ray actually penetrating this area here, there is some heat that comes off of this fixtures here, and I think this will be adequate for this space here. This is I think in the south, and so the temperatures do get kind of cold. They did mention that there's not a windy situation in here, so that's good for this application. Now, one thing I do want to mention is you can see that these are gas heaters, so they do have exhaust, and so that exhaust is going to flow into this area up here, and most likely will pool up here on a non-windy day and fill up this area with exhaust gases until they reach the point where they can evacuate outside of here. And so that's something important to note. You may want to add some sort of ventilation within this area, so it'll allow the exhaust gases to flow out properly or cleanly. Also, well, that's about all I could say about that. Oh, I was going to mention that, you know, it's possible if that those exhaust gases linger and you have some light fixtures up here and or speakers or something of that nature, that could cause them to prematurely get damaged due to the exhaust gases that may sit up there. So it is always good to evacuate the gases if you can. And other than that, the heater is physically below this line here, so it's going to always receive fresh air. It's just the exhaust gases are going to, you know, be mixing up in here and could cause some issue with some of the elements up there. All right, and then over here, you can see that the footprint of heat is, I think, adequate enough for this space here. Again, you may have to move the heater, you know, further away from the door and or to the left in order to achieve. I'm not quite sure the true dimensions of the door or the true placement of the door. I just went with some of the planning that they showed me. So again, it's 24 inches from a wall, it says, and then 17 inches off of the edge to a wall. So, all right, so let's leave it at that. And we'll turn these gas heaters off, and I'm going to go ahead and show you a option for electric heaters. So electric heaters I placed in the exact same locations. You can see these are the 6,000 watt C series, so 6,000 watt 240 volts, 25 amps a piece. And I have them, actually these are just an inch further away from the lamp because the clearance on this model requires 18 inches from the edge of the heater to any combustible surface. So again, a little bit wider, but this one here is in the exact same location, although it is centered here. And you can see with the 18 inches of clearance here with the door open, I'm not penetrating that in any way, so that's not an issue for this application. Also, if you wished, you could recess mount these, or flush mount them rather. You'd need a flush mount frame and then add in a 1 hour drywall fire rated enclosure. All right. And you can see over here we're meeting the clearances on the edges with the heaters in the center, like I said before. All right, let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. And on this particular model, you can see that again we have the same type of situation. There is some colder spots here in the middle, but the footprint of heat is fairly well, and I think this will give you an adequate amount of heat for this application. And then over here, the same thing, no issues with regards to the footprint of heat. You can see here too that, you know, your back will be resting against the sofa cushions in the back here, and so your upper torso will be over here. You will receive heat. It's just not the perfect ideal heat, and some days you may wish to move the couch in a little bit further in order to receive the most productive amount of heat that you can. These are infrared heaters, so they produce a light wave. If you're not in that ideal amount of light wave that it puts out, then you're not going to receive this maximum benefit. So, all right, well, I hope this has helped. If you're looking for some assistance with your outdoor heating application and you would like us to review your plans, feel free to send your information to designs@patioheat.com. I'm Steve. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button. That's what helps us to get our word out that we can help you and others can benefit from that. Thank you and have a great day.